Yeah, you can stop traffic. More over before I said I'm fine.
No, right here. On the sidewalk. On the sidewalk. Can you bring it over here on the sidewalk? Right here. Not behind the podium. Yeah. Come on. Back. Come on this side. Come on this side.
Okay, yes, can we gather either side?
There you go. Just like this.
Perfect, thank you.
Just like this. Focus on it. Right there. I just got a question. Is this public or that public? That's the sidewalk public. We not gonna go, come on, y'all get outside. Don't stand on state property. Get on public. It's public, right?
Everything on this side, half of that side.
Even on sidewalk?
6 feet on them.
Well, I didn't know. I thought the sidewalk was public. I thought that's all right. That's all right. Oh, David.
Oh, freedom. Oh, freedom. Oh, freedom over me. And before I be a slave, I'll be buried in my grave. Now go home, home to my Lord, and I'll be free. No more weeping, no more weeping, no more weeping over me. And before I be a slave, I'll be buried in my grave. And I'll go home, home to my Lord, and I'll be free. No more moaning, no more moaning, no more moaning over me. But before I be a slave, I'll be buried in my grave. Now go home, home to my Lord, and I'll be free. Oh, freedom. Oh, freedom. Oh, freedom over me. And before I be a slave, I'll be buried in my grave. And I'll go home, home to my Lord, and I'll be free. No more weeping, no more weeping, no more weeping over me. And before I be a slave, said I'll be buried in my grave. And I'll go home, home to my Lord, and I'll be free.
Somebody's hurt my brother, and it's gone on far too long. Yes, it's gone on far too long. Tell you it's gone on far too long. Somebody's hurt my brother, and it's gone on far too long. And we won't
be silent anymore.
Y'all sing along. Your part is far too long. Somebody's hurting my sister, and it's gone on
Far too long.
Yes, it's gone on
Far too long.
Tell you it's gone on
Far too long.
Well, somebody's hurting my sister, and it's gone on
Far too long. And we won't be silent anymore. Somebody's hurting our country, and it's gone on.
far too long.
Say that it's gone
Far
on.
too long.
Good afternoon. I'm Reverend Dr. Robin Tanner. Thank you. Thank you for coming out for this mass moral motorcade on Manchin. Before we begin, a few instructions. I would remind everyone that this is a COVID-safe event, and so everyone is to keep social distance, to keep your masks on for the duration of the gathering. Unless you are speaking. We will be spraying the mic in between all speakers. We would ask anyone who's not speaking, however, to please keep your masks on and maintain social distancing. Our program will begin with one of our co-chairs, Reverend Dr. Liz Theo Harris, followed by Reverend Lipscomb, who is one of the tri-chairs of the West Virginia Poor People's Campaign. He will be followed by Jean Evansmore and Pam Garrison, co-chairs of the West Virginia Poor People's Campaign. You will come up in that order.
All right, let's make some noise.
Not one step back, forward together.
Not one step back.
Good afternoon, West Virginia. It is powerful to be here in this moral uprising, this moral resurrection, as we have a moral motorcade on Senator Manchin. I come as the co-chair of the Poor People's Campaign, representing leaders, moral leaders, clergy, activists, advocates in 47 states across this country, at the invitation of the West Virginia Poor People's Campaign. And I stand here today, 100 years after Black and white and immigrant miners and their families marched to Blair Mountain, fought for the democracy and for higher wages and dignity for poor workers. 151 years after the ratification of the 15th Amendment, that prohibits the federal government and any state from denying a citizen the right to vote. It's 101 years after the passage of the 19th Amendment. Today, we celebrate this on this day called the Women's Equality Day. And it's 2 days before the 58th anniversary of the March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom. And yet, in 2021, our democracy is in peril. Economic justice is being denied. But here in West Virginia, in the spirit of those miners, those suffragettes, those formerly enslaved people, those freedom fighters, the people of West Virginia, from the hood to the holler, are demanding that Senator Manchin and all the people who vowed to uphold the Constitution of these United States do 4 things. We need to end the filibuster. We need to pass all the provisions of the For the People Act. We need to fully restore the Voting Rights Act. And we have to raise the federal minimum wage to $15 an hour. We come today to this Charleston, West Virginia state capitol in the spirit of the persistent widow in the Gospel of Luke in our Holy Bible, who, although her opponent did not care for other people, did not even respect God, she, in her persistence, in her organizing, wins justice.
She keeps coming and coming. She pleads her case to all who will listen. She organizes protests. She organizes motorcades. She points out the death being caused by unjust policies. And she insists that someone with the authority, but with a hardened heart, can still promote justice, can defend the voice and votes of everyone, can ensure that all get the wages they need and deserve. That persistent widow poses the question that we're asking of Manchin today. Which side are you on? Are you on the side of the people? Are you on the side of justice? We are so powerful in this moral motorcade, and we're proud to be here in the state of West Virginia.
I was trying not out the MC today. Clinton, we need you to show the sign. At 3 minutes, 2 minutes, 1 minute. We need to see the sign because Liz actually had 2 more minutes, so she'll come back at the end. Those that you are speaking, you got 2 minutes. Know when the time is because we're speaking to thousands. It's COVID, and we got to be safe. And we're going to close it out at the end. All right, Robert.
Check. Greetings, everyone. Greetings to everyone in West Virginia. I'm Pastor William Lipscomb II, Tri-Chair, part of the West Virginia chapter here, and Senior Pastor at Restoration Praise Temple. We're here because we come to raise one voice as one people. The Bible tells us that when someone knows what they ought to do and don't do it, it's sin. And so we're here today with one voice to tell Senator Manchin, do the right thing. Do the right thing and remove an archaic filibuster. Do the right thing and fully restore the Voting Rights Act. Do the right thing and raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour. Do the right thing. You know what the right thing is to do. Do the right thing. He hails himself on a record of reaching across the aisle. But how about reaching across the state of West Virginia? To those who have put you in office, how about raising us up, restoring us? Do the right thing. We've come with one voice to tell Senator Manchin what? Do the right thing. One more time, do the right thing. God bless you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I'm Jane Evans Moore, one of the Tri-Chairs of the West Virginia Poor People's Campaign. I'm extremely proud to be part of this movement, which I took on sometime late last year, and I expect to do this the rest of my life. And if I live according to the way I want, which is my granddaddy's, I got about 15 more years to go, okay? Now, I come from a family of coal miners. My grandfather was a coal miner. My uncles were coal miners. I'm aware of this. I'm aware of unions. I'm aware of poverty. We all have been there. We've been there. Many of us don't consider ourselves there now, but many of us are. And because of what we have been taught, many of us are unwilling to actually acknowledge that we are poor. But you work 3 jobs just to feed your family and have a place to live. That is poverty. You didn't cause it. The system caused it. Get involved with us and fight the system. Thank you very much. I got another minute, so I'll keep talking. I am so pleased. I am so happy. I expect to be doing this until I can't do it anymore. And I said, when I quit moving and when I quit talking, I will probably be in my grave. And I think just to ensure I'm not going to get up, I said long ago that I was to be donated and cremated. Thank you. No, it's not a bad thing. You're not going to be aware of it, but somebody could learn something from your body. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, everybody. My name is Pam Garrison. I'm tri-chair of the West Virginia Poor People's Campaign.
That's right.
And I'm a proud West Virginian. I come from coal miners on both sides of my family. My husband was a coal miner. I know the struggles that they have. I know the struggles that they've went through. And we're here today to honor our miners who stood up and against their oppressors and said no more. We deserve a minimum wage, a living wage. We deserve health care. We deserve a seat at the table. My forefathers, they had real bullets going at them. Today, we have political bullets going at us people. And they are going at us left and right. They are trying to do it so fast that we can't react. But you know what my forefathers did? They did more. They mobilized. They organized. They registered. And they educated the public and the people of what was happening to them and getting stabbed in the back. At the same time being smiled at our face, going, oh, we are for you. We are for the people. Well, your actions ain't saying that, Senator Manchin. Are you my senator that I voted for or not? Which side are you on? Are you on the side of West Virginia and mountaineers that are always free? Or are you on the side of the commerce? Are you on the side of the corporations and the oppressors and abusers? So my fellow Americans, come join us. Stand in your states. Stand with us. Stand.
Repeat after me. End the filibuster. Pass the full For the People's Act. Pass the Voting Rights Restoration. Pass $15 living wage. Next, we will hear from Molly Linehan Boucher, followed by Martise Washington, followed by June from Common Defense, and then Matt Kerner speaking with Move On.
Yeah. That's right. That's right, sir.
Good afternoon. I'm here as a Catholic, and I'm humbled to be alongside people I admire so much. I am not an ordained person. I'm a Catholic laywoman who has tried to be informed in my faith. I teach high school, and I hope to convey to my students that in each of them, each of all of us, every person is a reservoir of God's revelation, unlike any other, as we are made in the image and likeness of God. It was deep-rooted knowledge of God-given dignity that brought miners to march on Blair Mountain 100 years ago. Today, that awareness brings us here, voicing concerns about poverty, wages, and employment. 8 years ago, we witnessed the immoral dismantling of key provisions of the Voting Rights Act. Diminishing voting rights undermines the dignity of individuals and starves us of the voice of God found in minority communities. In 1963, the U.S. Catholic bishop stated definitively, and I quote, "No Catholic with a good Christian conscience can fail to recognize the rights of all citizens to vote." Senator Manchin is a Catholic. 2 years ago, in an interfaith religious meeting with youth, Pope Francis said, "Everyone has the fundamental role to play in a single great creative project, to write a new page of history, a page full of hope, peace, and reconciliation." I look forward to the day when we can be sure that everyone means everyone.
Hey guys, I'm Marquise Washington. And you know what? Senator Manchin, we keep having to do this. And it's like you don't understand us. But let me make it real clear and simple. You are encouraging poverty. Can y'all say that with me? You are encouraging poverty. Okay? You're the reason why West Virginia is on the lowest of the low of the totem pole. You are the reason why we have to go to a program instead of our brother to get help in Canada. You are the reason why people are dying, people are struggling, and people are choosing to end their life every single day because they're struggling. Children are going hungry. Mothers are crying. Dads are running because they don't know what to do. When are you going to do something? When are you going to step up? Can we get a living wage? I mean, you're making me feel like a slave, taking me all the way back. You're stripping my rights to vote. So you're encouraging slavery as well. At what point are you going to do your job and protect me and everybody else like me? I don't mean black, that means poor, underprivileged, underpaid, tired. If you don't stop encouraging poverty, there will be no West Virginia for you to represent. If you don't stop not listening and helping us, there's not going to be anything here but these mountains. Senator Manchin, do your job or resign, buddy. We ain't got it. We ain't got no more time to wait on you or your colleagues or you to reach you across the aisle. All I need you to do is step down here and talk to us and get our demands passed. That's the end of that.
Thank you so much. Yes. Hi, everyone. It's a lovely day to be here. Hot afternoon. My name is June Spence. I'm a proud organizer with Common Defense, the nation's largest grassroots veteran organization. And I want to talk to you a little bit about the anniversary of Blair Mountain. That is what we are here for today. And also to make sure that we are heard. We want our concerns to be known to Senator Manchin. 100 years ago, our ancestors in these hills fought for the right of labor, of a dignified work area, to get paid an actual living wage and not work under company script. We are here demanding a livable wage again. $15 is the bare minimum to survive in this country. I'm a veteran and I represent veterans who are of the progressive side of our nation. I also represent all working class Americans. I have lived in poverty. After you get out of the Army, there is no set up plan to succeed. You have to reintegrate yourself into society all over again. It is one of the most difficult processes that many of our veterans face. And we should not be making this harder. We need to pay our people livable wage. We need to end the filibuster to actually get stuff done. And we need to remember the legacy of those brave miners that fought, literally fought, against 27,000 federal troops, 3,000 Pinkertons, but they were 10,000 strong. Yeah, and they gathered from all over the country to meet here and fight in Logan County. Thank you so much for your time. Happy to be here, more than enthused to be invited to speak, and I love it here. Let's see you all.
Not one step back. We call on you to be part of this moral resurrection, to go to www.poorpeoplescampaign.org, to click on action, to get engaged, and to take action. We'll hear now from Matt Kerner from Move On.
Hi, my name is Matt Kerner. I'm a little taller than the last person. I've been asked to come here today to deliver greetings and acknowledge the support of millions of Move On members across the country and tens of thousands of them right here in West Virginia. Yeah. We fully support all the demands that are being made by the Poor People's Campaign because we know that those demands will help lift people out of poverty. We've all heard Senator Manchin, and before I get in too far into this, let's not forget that we got another Senator Capito who is equally able to vote for these measures. Senator Manchin has repeatedly said that he doesn't want to infringe on the filibuster so that he can preserve the dignity of the Senate. I'm not sure if you're aware, Senator, but about half the people in this state live in poverty. That means there's hundreds of thousands of children that are going to go to bed hungry tonight because they're food insecure, with thousands of homeless children in West Virginia. We have 8,000 West Virginia children in foster care. 800 of them had to be placed out of state because we didn't have enough willing and able families to take care of them. Every one of those children that's going to go to bed hungry tonight is more important than the appearance of the Senate. Every kid that goes to school Monday morning not knowing where he's going to go to bed that night is more important than the dignity of the Senate. We lead the nation in child sexual assault, and every kid that's going to get raped tonight is more important than the United States Senate. Pass these measures, Senator. Thank you.
We are COVID safe this day, and though we know we could have had hundreds of thousands out here, we are COVID safe. But I want you to know, I want us to take a praise break for a minute to realize that 50 groups are cross-posting right this moment. And it has gone out to over 250,000 people. It has been shared right now. This moment is being shared by Willie Nelson, by Tyler Childers, and they are gathering artists from around the country who are pushing our moral resurrection out right this moment. And so I ask you to be a part of that. Go to poorpeoplescampaign.org. Click on action. Take the action. Share this out. Keep amplifying this Poor People's Campaign. We will hear now from Dean Anthony from Black Voters Matter, followed by Reverend Derek Biondi, followed by Reverend Caitlin.
How you doing, West Virginia? Before I'm going to use a 15 of my seconds real quick. Can I get everybody to say love? I need you to say a little bit stronger. Can I hear you say love? Let me hear you say power. Love? Power. That's what we have right here with the people. I need everyone to understand that everyone who's watching this video, who's a part of this, we are the people and we have love and power for one another. And so I have issues. Understand, I'm from Georgia. So the power that Manchin has right now, I got a little bit of bias because it was a special election in Georgia that put him in this power. If it wasn't for Lance going out in the state of Georgia and getting a record number of elections during a COVID case, he wouldn't be in this power that he has. So I take issue when I find out that he is suppressing, he is being a predator. He is allowing people to suppress our vote throughout this country. He is intentionally hurting Black and brown and poor communities across this country. And it's not something that we can't stand for. So if you have any decency in yourself, you're in the filibuster right now. Because voting rights, racism is not something that we negotiate across this country in any community. So right now is your time to do what's right by the people. Do what's right by the community. Do what's right by everyone who got you in the place that you are. So I'm going to take my seat. But I got to say it one more time. Let me hear y'all say love. Let me hear you say power. Love, power. Y'all have a great day.
I'm Reverend Derek Biondi, United Methodist pastor. I am a freelance liberation theologian in these hills, and Blair Mountain matters. It matters because the coal companies separated groups apart from one another as a means of division, as a means of stripping them of their power. And Blair Mountain was a means of saying, we shall be united in these hills. Now, there was a teacher in some Galilean hills, and along those hills he taught that blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn. Blessed are the meek. Blessed are those who are hungry and thirst for righteousness. Do you have that thirst? Do you have that thirst? Because we are here and we are united together, bound together in love, and united for the people, to fight for all the poor, to fight those oppressive systems like the filibuster that keep those who struggle down, to fight those laws that silence our minorities and the poor throughout this country, who silence West Virginians. And for that $15 an hour, which might seem unbelievable for a West Virginian that has only been offered 10, but you are worth it. You deserve a raise. And if you think that 15 is not fair because you make 16, you deserve a raise too. Y'all deserve a raise, except for about 1%. But we'll talk about them later. That's all. Amen.
That's right. Good job.
Good afternoon, y'all. I am the Reverend Caitlin Connor Quailberg, Unitarian Universalist minister and mom here in beautiful Charleston, West Virginia, descendant of coal miners and labor organizers. Today I am remembering a white Unitarian Universalist woman from Detroit named Viola Liuzzo, murdered by the KKK for taking part in the Work for Voting Rights Act in 1965. She was killed giving a ride to fellow protesters, black protesters, which is a reminder that motorcades or just getting each other where we need to go is a vital, a sacred part of the work for justice. I am remembering the courage and commitment she and so many left as our legacy. I'm remembering the statement she made to her labor organizer husband as she packed her bags for Alabama and kissed her children goodbye. She said, "It's everybody's fight." This is still everybody's fight because everybody deserves a fair wage and fair elections. The work for voting protections and the repeal of unethical voting laws, this is everybody's fight. Just like racism is everybody's fight, why we all must be clear that Black lives matter, because injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere, as Reverend Dr. King said. We are caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied in a single garment of destiny. This is everybody's fight. So Senator Manchin, Senator Capito, all of our elected officials, I hope you'll be with us on the side of love, of justice, of a better tomorrow for the people of West Virginia and all our nation. Together, we can make sure that everyone has access to voting, that everyone's voice and vote counts, that everyone is paid a fair wage for their labor, because this isn't about fighting each other, this is about fighting for each other. This is a fight for everybody. Thank you.
This is everybody's fight. This is everybody's fight. This is the fight of millions who are listening to my words and watching us now. This is everybody's fight. So go to poorpeoplescampaign.org. Take action. Sign on to our open letter. Sign on to these demands. And push the question as we are now. Which side are you on, Senator Manchin? Which side are you on? Go to poorpeoplescampaign.org. Take action. Sign on to our open letter. Next up, we will hear from Richard Ojeda of No Dem Left Behind. That's it.
All right, I don't write speeches. I say what I say, so settle down, everyone. Settle down. Where are you at, Joe Manchin? Can you hear us, Joe Manchin? I know it's not easy to hear the people when you're at the top floor of the West Virginia lottery building. Joe Manchin, 710,000 citizens in West Virginia live below the poverty line. And that's your job to elevate people above the poverty line. And we're asking you, and we're begging you, and we're getting nothing in return. You and your fellow members of Congress enjoy $174,000 a year. The majority of people in West Virginia that are working 2 jobs
pay $7.25 an hour are making $13,900 a year. You are enjoying $14,500 every month. And these people are trying to live off of $1,160 a month. You make $3,650 a week. And these people are living off of $290 a week. You've got a staff, and you've got salaries for your staff. You're happy. People take care of you. Whatever you want, they get it for you. But these people can't even put food on the table for their children. We're asking you, and we're asking you now. And we're hoping you're going to do the right thing, because we're going to stop asking you if you continue letting us live in poverty. So, end the filibuster. We're sick and tired of watching the Republican Party be in charge when they're in the minority. You're a Democrat, for goodness sake. Start friggin' acting like it. We want to bring voter capability back. We want to protect voters' rights. What good is having a country if the only people who get to vote are the filthy rich? And I want to know, I want to end dark money. Because for the past 20 years, me and my brothers and sisters have went to Iraq, Afghanistan, and Syria and have died for what? So that Raytheon, so that Lockheed Martin, so that Halliburton and Brown and Root can get rich while the rest of us die or come home broken. So Joe Manchin, do your job. We're tired of paying you to do nothing. Folks, this is a fight. And we don't stop this fight until we win this fight. And everybody knows there's a hell of a lot more of us than they are of them. So stay in this fight. Sappers clear the way, airborne all the way.
Boy, it's good to be in West Virginia because there's a fight in West Virginia. I want to ask Gene and Pam and the religious tribe chair and Liz to kind of step up here around us. The reason we do it like this, okay, because we don't ever have anybody speak alone. That's why y'all are here. Because we let folks know if you touch one of us, you got to touch all of us. Even if we got to be a little cold and spread out. Now, my job here today was to give a call to action. So I wanted to listen to everything that you're saying and then try to sum it up for the whole nation and the world to understand. When I got here, I saw something. I saw Abraham Lincoln crying. I'd never seen that statue before. Abraham Lincoln's crying. But underneath that says that West Virginia broke ranks with the Confederacy June of 1963, June, before other states. In a real sense, you got a senator now that's picking up the antics of the Confederacy. And we got to say this like it ought to be said, Ojeda, and Liz, and Gene, and Pam. A lot of people blame Trump for a lot of things, and rightfully so. But the truth is, we have a moral and constitutional policy crisis in this country. We've got a moral and policy insurrection going on in state capitals, including West Virginia. And it's not because of Donald Trump. It's because of Joe Manchin in the Senate and those others that are following him with that filibuster. Manchin has chosen to use the power he has to fight for corporations and the greedy rather than for the poor and the low-well people of this state and of this nation. We brought a casket today because not only is he trying to bury voting rights and bury living wages and bury the For the People's Act, people die from poverty every day. Before COVID, 700 people died a day from poverty. Right here in West Virginia, 900,000 people are poor and low wealth, 40+%. Look at the children, over 50%. There are they're supposed to be Joe Manchin's people. But instead, with the power that he has, he's choosing to treat corporations like people and people like things. He's decided he doesn't give a damn about the Constitution, but he cares about the Chamber of Commerce over the people. Because his filibuster, which is a non-constitutional thing, is blocking living wages. In February, he did that. And 32 million Americans could have come out of poverty. One vote. He's holding on to the filibuster. Over 350,000 in West Virginia. It's on his hands. All these folk that lived during the pandemic, working for less than living wage, that are still hurting, their pain is on his hands. All of the bills in these state legislatures around the country, his signature is on all those bills, even though he's not in those states. Because if his filibuster wasn't blocking the passage of the For the People's Act, everything they're doing would be illegal. Now, Brother Manchin ran as a Democrat, Liz. He never said while he was running that he was against the Democratic platform. He didn't say that. He wouldn't have won in the primary. Huh? He never said he would be against 15 and living wage. In fact, he was a co-signer of the For the People's Act. He never said he wouldn't protect the ballot. He never said he wouldn't stop dark money and that he would block mail-in voting and early voting. He never said that he would not end gerrymandering. He ran one way, lied like his uncle. Oh, I'm going to get in his business today. He had an uncle here that was a Manchin, and he used to throw old cars in the river when the cameras weren't around, and then go get the cameras and pull the cars out and say, look at what I've done. Manchin Joe is just a cleaned up version of that. It's in his DNA to be sneaky. He says he's more concerned about the Chamber of Commerce and the Koch brothers. But Ojeda, I bet you he didn't say that in the primary. He didn't say that. Because he knew Mountaineers wouldn't have stood for him. And so I was, when Gene first said he's a liar, I kind of, but then it's true. And he's lying about the filibuster. He don't mind breaking the filibuster. He breaks it to put Supreme Court justices on the bench for life. Am I telling the truth? He breaks it to pass tax cuts for the wealthy and budgets that do so. He's only against it when it comes to things that would truly save the soul and the infrastructure of this democracy. But there's another thing about Brother Manchin, and I call him brother, but in order to help a brother, sometimes you got to tell the truth. He's coward. He's hiding behind a coward filibuster. Now let me tell you the lie he just declared president. Let me tell you a lie that he tells on y'all in D.C. He says, I'm doing this and sticking with the filibuster because West Virginians want me to do this because I'm standing in the legacy of Robert Byrd. No, he's not. No, he's not. Because you know what Robert Byrd said? Robert Byrd hated the filibuster where all you have to do is say you have 60 votes. Because he said, what it does is we're going to shut down. This is what Robert Byrd said. A true filibuster is a fight. When senators have to hold the floor as long as they are physically able, and they got to argue consistently to either convince the people of their argument or lose their stamina. Any other kind of filibuster that doesn't require grueling personal sacrifice, exhausting preparation, and a willingness to be criticized for disrupting the nation's business is not a true filibuster. Manchin is coward. He can't stand on the floor and defend. He won't expend his stamina. And he's hiding behind a coward filibuster that Byrd abhorred. Manchin is blocking 15 minimum wage. As I said, it would raise wages for 32 million people. But not only that, it would have pumped $300 billion into the economy. He joined with Republicans to support an infrastructure bill that was cut down to $1.2 trillion, which is way less than what's needed over 10 years. We actually need $10 trillion to fix all the roads and bridges over 10 years, $1 trillion a year. He's cut it and wants to pass it because if you look at that bill closely, most of that money is going to go to the development. And the jobs they create, man, will be more all the way south. There'll be some union jobs, but look at it clearly. And now he says he won't support President Biden's Build Back Better plan. But let's think about what he's not supporting. You all said that there's a lot of poverty among children in West Virginia, right? That bill has $726 billion for universal pre-care for 3 and 4 years old. He's not willing to pay that. It has tuition-free community college. He doesn't want to vote for that. It has an expansion of the Pell Grant so that poor folk can go to school. He doesn't want that. It has $107 billion for permanent status for qualified immigrants. It has $135 billion to address forest fires and carbon emissions. He doesn't want that. It has $332 billion for public housing and housing affordability that would help people in the hills and in the hollows and in the hood. It has $198 billion for clean energy, and he doesn't want that. Joe Manchin, lastly, claims he's got all this faith. But the Bible he put his hand on says, woe unto those that legislate evil and rob the poor their right. Didn't Jesus say a nation would be judged by how it treats the least of these? And do you know that in the Bible, the filibuster is sin? Because it impedes justice. God wants justice to roll down like waters, not be impeded by a filibuster. God says people are hypocrites when they go through a bunch of religious activity, but then they leave undone filibuster, block, justice, and fairness, and mercy. So we're here today to say that Joe Manchin's actions will bury this democracy if he does not change. Actions like his are leading us toward a civil oligarchy. And the next step after a civil oligarchy, that's where the elite rich folk run everything, is an autocracy. His actions will crush the promises to the poor and low-wealth people of this country. And so we got to stand, y'all. It's hot as heaven out here, but we got to stand and stop what his policies do. We must be the moral resurrection leaders. We got to challenge Manchin, especially right here at home. We got to ask this nation in West Virginia to understand what does it profit America to hold on to a filibuster and lose your soul and lose the infrastructure of your nation, lose the infrastructure of voting and the infrastructure of living wages, lose investments to the poor, much like the Southern Democrats 60 years ago. Manchin is doing what Dr. King called out in his speech 58 years ago, interposition and nullification. And he used that to describe George Wallace. Today, Manchin is the interpositioner and the nullifier. 100 years ago, somebody looked like my granddaddy and somebody looked like Pam's granddaddy joined together. Most people don't know that war was black and white man. It wasn't just white man. But just like it was black and white. And they fought. Today we fight non-violently, but we fight nonetheless with truth, love, justice. And guess what, y'all? We will win. Oh yeah, we win. Check history. Justice gets beat down, but it doesn't ever stay down. Huh? This is the moral fight. We are the moral resurrection. We are here to stand against this immoral, constitutionally inconsistent, economically insane activity of Joe Manchin. And we will win because justice is on our side. Truth is on our side. Constitution is on our side. I dare say God Almighty is on our side. So we're going to keep coming. Are we going to keep coming? Manchin, which side are you on? That's what we're going to keep. Don't be a coward. You know, if you're a real man, hold a press conference. Tell the people of West Virginia that you lied when you ran. Tell them you really don't care about the minors. Tell them you really don't care about the poor. Be a man. Tell them you don't care about low wealth. Tell them you don't care about voting rights. Tell them you don't care about their wages. Be a man. If that's who you are, tell the people you care more about your greedy friends who visit your houseboat in D.C. than the people who are back home here in West Virginia. Tell them, be a man. But you got one other option. Be a man and repent. Have the courage to repent and say you were wrong. We'll forgive you if you tell us you got caught up for a moment. Yeah, the money got to you. You sniffed some coke, K-O-C-H. You forgot who you were. You forgot who your mama was. You forgot who your people were. But now you've come to your senses. Like the prodigal son, you're ready to come back home. Huh? Be a man and repent. Now that you're not listening to your mentor. You're listening to the Chamber of Commerce. Come on home, Joe Manchin. Be a man. Either man enough to stand in these folks' face and say you lied, or man enough to repent and change your ways. But you can't straddle the fence no more. We ain't having it. Am I right, West Virginia? West Virginia not having it? The hell with being a moderate. You didn't swear to moderately uphold the Constitution. That's not what you swore to. Ain't no such thing as a moderate when it comes to voting rights. When it comes to living wage, when it comes to lifting up the poor. And so the Poor People's Campaign and all of our partners in West Virginia, we are committed, and this is bad English, but it's good politics. We ain't going nowhere. We ain't going to shut up. We're not going to back up. We're not going to stand down. You kind of ought to be glad it's COVID. Because if it wasn't COVID, we'd be sitting in your office right here in West Virginia till they arrested every one of us. If you want change, we're going to call on the House of Representatives in D.C. to hold the line. Don't pass that infrastructure bill. Don't send it back to the Senate. Hold the line until the Senate says it'll do right with the For the People's Act and the Voting Rights Restoration and 15 on the Union and the kind of budget that invests in people. Now, Senator Manchin, I know sometimes folks get cocky when they get strength for a minute. You hadn't had none, so it's done gone to your head. Well, you might be strong for a minute, but there are thousands of poor in low wealth West Virginia, and they are now connected to 140 million across this state, and they're connected to 48 coordinating committees, and they're connected to 2,000 faith leaders, and we're going to be strong forever. And we're going to be strong, and we're going to hold the line until the poor are paid properly. We're going to hold the line until the hungry are fed properly. We're going to hold the line until the sick are healed and insured properly. We're going to hold the line until the vote is protected and expanded properly. And Brother Manchin, if we got to fight what you're doing all the way, we're going to fight it nonviolently. If we got to get in the streets, if we got to go to jail, we got to sit in your office. If somebody's got to start now planning the primary you again, if we got to call our friends like Willie Nelson and all the other country singers and the hip hop singers, and we calling them in now. We cannot let you get away with it. And so as Mother Jones said, she was a good West Virginian. She said, look, this is the deal. We pray for the dead, but we fight like hell for the living. We hold the line. We pray for the dead, but we fight like hell for black folks from the hood and white folks from the house. We go forward together with every race and every creed and every religion. We go forward together and we'll hold this line. We're going to fight for this democracy. Your actions might cause weeping for a night, but joy comes in the justice moment. God will help us. Oh, the dark money that's driving you is going to come to the light. The wrong you're doing is going to be exposed. People are going to figure out what you're doing and figure out that it's not just hurting black people. And haven't you heard the chant that lived through history, that outlived George Wallace, that outlived the segregationists? Ain't no power like the power of the people. And the power of the people don't stop. Somebody said, ain't no power
like the power of the people. And the power of the people don't stop. So I got a question. Are we going to hold the line? Are we going to keep fighting? Are we going to go forward together? Manchin, either you change or we organize to keep you from doing what you're doing. But the one thing we're not going to do is ever stop. Am I right, West Virginia? Somebody say, ain't no power like the power of the people. And the power of the people don't stop. Somebody say, forward together. Not one step back. Manchin, we not coming. We already here. And we ain't going nowhere. And so we got another enlistment. He's on the line now. Brother Willie?
Hello there.
Oh! Hey, Brother Willie, how you doing?
All right, Brother Barber, good to hear you. You're sounding great.
Man, you know we've been fighting. Did you hear all those West Virginians? Did you hear all of them earlier? If not, just on the Zoom. I want to ask you though, Brother Willie.
I can hear you pretty good.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Let me ask you, you know, what made you join us today rather than just sit home and retire and rest?
Well, I can relate to poor people for sure because I grew up in Abbott, Texas with a lot of poor people out in the cotton fields, picking cotton, pulling corn, baling hay. I know how it feels to work and I know how it feels to be poor. I wish there was more that I could do, but I think what we're trying to do is good, trying to call attention to the poor people that they need to vote. The biggest gun we've got is called a ballot box. So if you don't like who's in there, vote them out. But we have to have the right to vote in order to do that. And they're trying to take the voting rights away, and we have to stop them.
In fact, Brother Willie, what do you think about that? That you got a politician, for instance, in this state, Joe Manchin, who in less than 6 months has used his filibuster to block living wages that would lift poor and low people up, and to block passing the For the People's Act that would stop what's going on in these state capitals. You know, what they're trying to do is take away what 56 million Americans used in their last election. And this is one senator, he's blocked living wages for 32 million people. And now he's blocking the bill that could keep voter access for 56 million people. If you were to write a song or have a song there, what would it be about that? What would you say about that in a song?
Well, you know, I wrote the song, if you don't like who's in there, vote them out. And the gun we've got is called a ballot box. So we have to vote them out. But there's a lot of people trying to keep you and me and everybody from voting. And that's where we have to fight. We have to make make a decision to get out there and vote and help other people vote, help the poor people vote. We have to relate to poor people because that's where we were.
Willie, did you know that there's 65 million poor and low-wealth people now that are eligible to vote?
I didn't know that.
Did you know that only 34 million voted in the last election?
Well, I'm not surprised. I think we have to get more people to the ballot box.
That's
whatever.
Right. And did you know that the number one reason that they said they didn't vote is because they say the politicians don't ever talk to them anymore? But they said if there was a movement that had an agenda for poor folk, the majority of those folks said they would be a part. And so I want to know, are you willing to help us reach to some other artists that still have an activist heart and bring them to this fight and use your stature to challenge Joe Manchin and challenge others? All we want them to do is do right. We don't even want to do anything that's so radical. Just do what they promised to do. Establish justice and ensure equal protection under the law and promote the general welfare. Can we count on you to help us? I tell you what, we got some young folk that said, if you'll stir things up, they'll take it the rest of the way. They're out here right now. So are you willing to call on some other folk to help join this fight?
Absolutely. I'll be happy to. And I think it's important that we help the people vote, because there's a lot of people on the other side that don't want you to vote, and we have to beat them. We can't let them win.
Can't let them win. Y'all heard that? Look, Brother Willie, I'm going to be calling you soon. Reverend Leah Steele Harris and I'll be calling you. Y'all is going to be calling you. She's already talking to Ann. We can win this. 1/3 of the electorate is now poor and low wealth. And we did a study that said in 15 states, if poor and low wealth people just voted 1 to 25% that did not vote in the last election, they could turn around and change who sits in the Senate and sits in the White House. That's why we can't let them block our access, because in our access is power. And we also got to bring together white folk and black folk and native folk, all of us together. We can do this, and we're in it for the long haul. Long haul. Brother Willie, thank you so much, man. Thank you. You don't even know what this means. Give him a shout, y'all.
My pleasure.
Stay forward together. Not one step back. Now we got something to go on. Robin's going to take over, and Liz and Jane and Pam, I believe, and the preacher, other preacher, are going to take this wreath up to the door. We brought this casket, but we didn't bring it to say we're going to bury it. We unearthed it. They're not going to have a funeral on our watch. We are the moral resurrection. So Robin, come up here and lead us in the final part of our rally today. And remember to stay cold and safe.
We are the moral resurrection. We are the moral resurrection. Now, in memory and honor and in movement with those spiritual ancestors, and for many of the folks here, blood relatives as well, a wreath will be placed in memory of 100 years since the largest multiracial fusion uprising in our country's history. It will be placed by the tri-chairs, Jean Evans-Moore, Pam Garrison, and Reverend Lipscomb. As they do so, with Reverend Dr. Theo Harris, we'll have a final song from Doris and David.
Somebody's hurting our brother, and it's gone on. Say that it's gone on. Yes, it's gone on. Well, somebody's hurting our brothers, and it's gone on. But we won't be silent anymore. Somebody's hurting our sister, and it's gone on for too long. Say that it's gone on for too long. Yes, it's gone on for too long. Somebody's hurting our sister, and it's gone on for too long. But we won't be silent anymore. Somebody's hurting our country, and it's gone on for too long. Yes, it's gone on. Yes, it's gone on. Well, somebody's hurting our country, and it's gone on for too long. But we won't be silent anymore. Somebody's hurting our sister, and it's gone on for too long. Yes, it's gone on for too long. Yeah, it's gone on for too long. Well, somebody's hurting my sisters, and it's gone on for too long. But we won't be silent anymore.
Y'all sing with us. Your line is far too long.
Somebody's hurting our brother, and it's gone on
for too long.
Yes, it's gone on
for too long.
Yes, it's gone on
for too long.
Well, somebody's hurting our brothers, and it's gone on
for too long.
But we won't be silent anymore. Somebody's hurting hurting our country, and it's gone on
far too long.
I said that it's gone on
Far too long.
You know it's gone on
Far too long.
Well, somebody's hurting our country, and it's gone on
Far too long.
But we won't be silent anymore. Somebody's hurting my brothers, and it's gone on
Far too long.
Said it's gone on
Far too long.
Yes, it's gone on
Far too long.
Well, somebody's hurting our brothers, and it's gone on
Far too long.
But we won't be silent anymore. Somebody's hurting my sisters, and it's gone on
Far too long.
I said that it's gone on
Far too long.
Yes, it's gone on
Far too long.
Somebody's hurting my sisters, and it's gone on
Far too long.
But we won't be silent anymore.
Somebody's blocking that ballot, and it's gone on far too long. Yes, it's gone on
Far too long
Hey, it's gone on
Far too long
Well, somebody's blocking our ballots, and it's gone on far too long. And we won't be silent anymore.
Forward together. www.poorpeoplescampaign.org. Vote and take action. Sign on to the open letter. Thank you so much, Doris and David. Our program is now concluded. Go to www.poorpeoplescampaign.org. Go to take action. Sign on to the open letter. Our program concludes, but the movement continues. Amen? Forward together.
Now one step back.